Radio Arcane.
Dark, eclectic music.
Welcome to Radio Arcane, the podcast, number 12, with WINGTIPS. I'm Brian Drabant.
I'm Motuvius Rex.
Kaleidoscope.
Vomit.
I'm Vincent.
And I'm Hannah.
Welcome to Louisville, Vincent and Hannah of WINGTIPS.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
We're happy to have you.
Came.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you guys have been touring for what, maybe a month or?
I think it's a month and a half, closing in on 2 months now.
Wow.
It's a long one.
Yeah.
Pretty ambitious for like a young band.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, making quite enough money to fly everywhere yet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would do that. So we have to drive everywhere.
Right.
This country's too big to not play everywhere. So we wind up on tour for 2 to 3 months.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great you can do that.
A lot of crashing at places, or you guys get enough to get hotel rooms?
In previous tours, we would just mostly crash with people or find something makeshift, whatever. But this tour, we've been a little bit better to ourselves.
That's awesome.
That's good. Yeah.
It's like comfort is quite priceless.
I totally agree.
No question about it. So
well, just where all have you? Did you go West Coast? And I know you've been south. You were in Tampa not too long ago, right?
That's correct. We did the West Coast into Texas and some of the Midwest, and then we played Cold Waves Fest in Chicago.
Yeah.
And then we did all of the East Coast pretty much, or most of the East Coast, and all the way down to Florida, back up by way of Atlanta, Nashville, and now we're here. And then we're going to go back to the East Coast in a couple days and do Canada, fill in the missed spots.
how much longer for the rest of your tour? I mean, when does it kind of wrap up?
The last day is October 20th.
Okay. So not too far away.
Did you guys meet at Cold Wave? Were you at Cold
we
Waves?
saw you guys at Cold Waves. It was a great show. You all did an awesome job.
Thank you.
Thank you. We enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was a fun weekend.
It was definitely fun.
By day 3, hanging out, it's like we have to leave right now.
Yeah.
Everyone's more and more hungover each day, and you're just like, hey.
We went to Cold Waves, and then the following weekend we went to San La Muerte.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and Austin. It was great too. So yeah. But we definitely enjoyed the show.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All the bands are awesome. We saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good lineup this year at San La Muerte. Some of our friends played. A great band from Chicago, New Canyons.
Yeah, we saw them.
Mm-hmm.
And our friends from Texas, Rose Garden Funeral Party, who we just played with in Dallas.
Yeah, they're great.
Great.
Yeah,
great
we really
performers.
enjoyed them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have y'all got to play any like cool bands on tour? I'm sure you have, but
What are the highlights? What are the highlighted bands that you enjoyed playing with?
There are honestly too many to name, and when you're on tour this long, it's like everything sort of bleeds together.
Right.
You should have good nights and bad nights. But yeah, there's been a lot of them. Especially with this long of a tour, we'd be going on forever.
I think the most recent one was, though, 2 nights ago, we played with Actors.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
We finally got to do like a real proper show with them on like the same bill and the same lineup instead of just like a festival weekend. But no, they're great. It was super fun to play with them. Played with them in Atlanta.
Yeah, they seem like a fun bunch.
Yeah.
I saw them in New York, and they were great. We're getting ready to see them in Cincinnati next week, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So Delphine Coma on that bill. I think I saw
Yeah,
them.
that's
I like
correct.
them.
Yeah.
DJ.
They're another band that's just endlessly touring.
Yes,
They're
they
just
work
going
very
on
hard.
they're really doing it, and they go all out every night, and it's really great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Has signing to Artifact helped you all a lot?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely opened a lot of doors for us and put us in a lot of new places, and we've learned a lot in this short time. It's been almost a year since we started talking to them, so it's been a pretty exciting journey. And it's been really great.
What kind of brought you two together? I mean, what was the start of everything with Wingtips?
Well, we initially met in college. We were both going to school in Chicago for theater, and we had some classes together and did shows together, like outside of class, and then we just kind of started talking, and then realized we liked the same kind of music. And then Vinny had already been doing Wingtips as a solo project in his bedroom, and we kind of just wanted to continue on doing music and kind of like our own thing outside of theater after school. And after I graduated, he dropped out, and we went on our first tour.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
It was definitely a little rough. I mean, we had our ups and downs and definitely learned a lot, but we just kind of like dove right into it and kind of just hit the ground running.
So this is your all's first full album release, isn't it?
Yeah,
I know you
that's
had like an
correct.
EP. You had an EP and a single. Is that right?
Yeah. We've had a few, unofficial releases, and then we released our last previous EP Gray Area on Field Trip, which is a local Chicago record label. And yeah, so this is our first official full album release that we're touring on, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
That's great. I love your show, and you work so hard with all of the instruments that you play, and I love watching that.
You guys
Thank
are
you.
Fender fans too,
Yeah.
which I am. I have a Telecaster back and an Aerodyne back here. But I was watching I like your Jaguar.
Yeah,
And of course, I like your Telecaster because I like Telecasters.
Yeah, yeah.
I
good
would say
sounds.
there's no other guitar that really plucks and pushes like
Yeah, it's-
any one you find. They're just amazing. Nothing really pushes through sound. I don't know.
That's why
Fender-
that's why country artists like them so much too. I mean, I know they're
Yeah.
different with Wave, but I mean,
I remember when I bought my first Telecaster, which is the only guitar I've really ever played with. The person at Guitar Center or wherever I bought it, whatever store, was like, "You in a country band?" Like,
well, that's what they said to me. Yeah, they always say that because that's like Buck Owens, made that. Well, it was Don Rich that made the Telecaster famous with that AM sound, and that's we were just talking about with production. Even on the other day, I love that AM radio sound. Sort of, I don't know.
yeah.
Frequencies cut off on the high.
Yeah,
and
the
low,
frequency. It's
yeah.
just got a nostalgic feel to it.
For sure.
And yeah, of course we are a country band.
Yeah. Well, y'all are in Kentucky.
You are in
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Welcome.
No, we definitely are not a country show.
No.
But I personally do love music history of all kinds. So
I really like a lot of country.
I like old stuff.
Old stuff, and the way that I've heard like a lot of country from like the mid 90s, late 90s, the way it's produced, it sounds similar sonically to like dance music, and like a lot of four on the floor, and the way it's mixed. I really admire that for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always appreciated the minimalism of Fender, especially the Tele. And I mean, I like all of them, but I'm not a brilliant guitar player myself.
Neither am I.
I came from the Robin Guthrie school of guitar playing, where effects are like my friend.
Totally. Just layer it on there, man.
Layer it.
As long as it sounds good, that's all that
let that
matters.
sustain
right?
and reverb, make some cool stuff happen. And but that's why it's worked so well as a Gothic guitar style instrument too. I think what new wave and
Yeah, totally.
all that. Yep. And I was noticing on your new album, there's a lot of vigilance going on in the titles. The Eye That Follows Suit and Sentinel and Deaf Pursuit. Is there a meaning for? Is there like a concept thing going on there, or did
Yeah.
it just happen?
Well, a lot of things just sort of fell together. Obviously, when we were demoing the songs out, we were living life and going through a lot of, trials and tribulations with, in various areas of our own lives, and that influenced our songwriting. And so really, when it was all said and done, the whole album process, writing it really told our story, even though we didn't really try to have it be that. We weren't trying to tell our story, but by the end of it, it just sort of made sense from start to finish.
Right on.
I like the video for Death Pursuit as well. That's really great. Did they give you all a bigger budget to do that? Did Artifact do that?
Oh no, we just did that on our own.
You did it on your own. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
My good friend from high school is now a videographer, and we sort of just had let's just hang out and make a cool video, and it'll be for our first album, and it was just a great time. And he likes to play with drones too, so
Yeah, we noticed that. We're like, where did they get that?
it's like we have to experiment with that. So that was all filmed in my hometown of Marion, Illinois, and the mall that we filmed it in was about to shut down. It's abandoned now, essentially. It was in its final days, and we illegally went in there and filmed.
Nice.
There's actually some B-roll of us being harassed by a security officer.
That's awesome.
I wanted to put that at the end, but yeah, and then a cornfield that was right by my house.
That's fun. Did a great job.
Thanks. Thank you.
Welcome.
You
we like that. Whatever, you know. So.
One thing we always do here, though, because we drink on the show, is welcome to Louisville.
Pop one open, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Mine's already open.
I know.
Yeah, that's cool.
We can pretend. Yeah, there you go. Just good sound effects there. Yeah, it's good.
I'm not aware, but have you guys been to Europe? Have you done anything there?
Not yet.
On the horizon,
Is that
possibly.
something that you'd like to do?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, we of course want it to be like the next thing that we do, but I mean, who knows if it will be possible, but we're hoping. We definitely have an interest.
Wave Gothic Treffen?
Hopefully.
That'd be
Everybody
awesome.
wants to, that's everybody's
Yeah.
goal.
I'd love to do WGT.
Yeah.
Maybe they're listening to this.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many festivals in Europe. Like specifically in this realm, it wouldn't make sense for us not to go. And it's a good time for us to do it, I think.
I would think
I've always
so.
been jealous of, I guess, England and Germany for their love of electronic, synth pop, EBM, new wave.
It's
America
just
is very rock and roll.
pervasive over there.
Much
It's just,
all over
yeah,
Europe.
I
I've
mean,
always
Italy
loved
and
the,
France are up there,
synthesizer
too.
and like, and I don't know, like
Yeah.
like Europe.
I lived over there, and it's like the radio station. There's not even any like rock and roll radio stations at
Yeah.
all. It's all, you know. I mean, there's radio stations that play techno and radio stations that play, you know, synth pop and new wave and whatnot. You don't find anything that's like rock and roll or anything like that over
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
Metal's pretty big over there, too.
metal's big,
Yeah.
for sure. But
It's good that it's, you know, all alternative. Something. It's
yeah,
Definitely.
not commercial.
for sure. I mean, they have their share of commercial shit over there, like top 40 stuff. But I mean, you know, getting away from the sort of whole rock and roll, I guess, idea to a degree. I mean, not that rock and roll's bad, but yeah. Anyways.
I was weaned on the
Sure.
the new romantics.
Yeah.
You know that I was born in. I'm 50 basically, but so like I was growing up in the late 70s, early 80s, and new romantic and new wave were my first love.
Like
So
out.
Yeah.
I love that this is all coming back again, which seems like it cycles through every so often. But
It's totally cyclical. Yeah.
you guys definitely have a good wave sound.
I have a question for you all.
Sure.
Do you guys run this podcast? What are your favorite podcasts?
I mean, honestly, my favorite one is Beyond Synth with Andy Last. It's very well produced. I don't know. He was kind of an inspiration for me to start doing this stuff in the first place. But I mean, we like a lot of them. I like Dark Dance Radio and
Like, I don't list a whole lot. I mean, most of the ones I list are primarily music, like Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, that's
in
the one I like
Australia.
too. Yeah.
What's the Co-Transmission?
Cold Transmissions is what I was going to say. Yeah.
Communion After Dark is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something I've listened to for years. I went to art school in Sarasota, so I was in Tampa Bay for quite a few years, and we talked about this with Mr. Kitty a little too, because they just came back from Tampa, but they have an amazing scene. I mean, the castle's awesome, and
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
and Tom Gold has been there for forever. I just think he's a great DJ. But Communion After Dark definitely was the first, I guess, kind of podcasting that got me interested.
Interesting.
But I think Beyond Synth for me, because there's a million podcasts that are just mixtapes and they just play music, and I appreciate that, but there's a million of them. And there's not a whole lot of podcasts that actually talk.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as music podcasts go.
Do you guys like Cemetery Confessions?
I have not heard it, but
Haven't heard it.
That's a Chicago goth.
I think I have heard it.
Yeah. The dude that runs it, or one of them, is we see him a lot. And he's been following us since we were like little
Aw.
bands.
Oh, nice.
He's like an OG Wingtips fan. But yeah, they're really big on goth talk. And
Yeah.
they talk
That's
about
cool.
music a lot, and it's like very little music too. I don't, if any, they just shoot the shit.
Yeah, right.
Obscura Undead,
As it were,
in
yeah.
Tampa has been
Yeah.
their talk now, but
Right.
it's just
Yeah.
talk with not as much music, I guess, mostly.
Yeah.
And-
Or a
like
sound
that.
bite
but
here and
I
there.
like watching
Yeah.
that too, and just
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
and they're kind of fans of Scary Black and the Kentucky Vampires, which are our
Yeah.
local bands.
Bass
you know,
player
so-
for the Kentucky Vampires.
Our thing Hannah's gotten me into on this tour, which were just long drives, is My Favorite Murder.
Cool.
I've heard of that.
Sounds familiar, yeah.
I know a lot of people who listen to that.
Yeah.
I was like hesitant at first, but because I mean I'm just cynical person. I was like, no, I don't want to listen to this podcast, but then we started listening to it, and I was like, all right, let's listen to the next one. You know, it's
Sort
really
of
good.
true crime, or
Yeah, it's like a true crime comedy podcast.
Okay,
Two
nice.
things that don't sound like they go together.
but they go together perfectly, I'm sure. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Dark humor.
It's probably hysterical. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to listen to, and it's of course one of those like awesome podcasts where you feel like you're hanging out with your friends, you're just like sitting alone, you're like killing time.
Nice.
But yeah, that's one way we've been killing time on the road, these long drives. But
Right. Listening to those.
I do
Yeah.
the same. I appreciate the streaming era because you're not limited to just what town you're in with the frequency. You know,
Totally.
you can listen to anything. You know, I listen to stuff from Canada and Europe and here, and what, you know, it's like
Right.
it's wonderful on that.
No doubt. No doubt.
Open the world up to, I don't know. You don't have to listen to some backwoods preacher while you're driving.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually like that kind of soundtrack when you're driving to a creepy, like
Yeah.
middle of nowhere back road, like
Lots
Children
of
of the Corn
fog.
type.
Right.
It's actually
in the
like,
mood.
yeah, that and AM radio is fun to listen to.
Coast to Coast is my favorite, like truck driver. It's an old like aliens and ghosts and stuff, but it just definitely has that. It's Bigfoot and
I've heard of it.
leprechauns and whatever, you know, like everything. But it's great, and it's a late night AM that's been out for 30 years probably. But that one is definitely a good one. But I agree, it is interesting to catch what's going on in the local, but it's fucking scary sometimes. My dad, I'm from rural Kentucky, so I can make fun of myself. Yeah, but like, I've taken some back roads when my dad lived in East Tennessee, and coming back to Louisville and just taking shortcuts, which are actually long cuts through the hill country.
Yeah.
And it's pretty Deliverance and Children of the Corn out there. Yeah.
Definitely identify with that rural landscape and creepy factor.
Yes.
I love it, but because of my age too, and because I wore a lot of lipstick and had colored hair and all that, it does give you pause to get out at the gas station in the middle of nowhere sometimes.
Yeah, sure, totally.
It's not that I'm perfectly friendly, and I you know, like, but there were some people to be a little wary of when I was younger. You know,
Yeah.
like they're gonna kick your ass. You know,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, you definitely
Feel that.
weirdo.
It's gotten a little bit better.
Unfortunately.
though.
It has gotten a lot
Yeah.
better, honestly. It really.
Yeah.
Well, I say that, and then we got Trump for president, and then it's like,
Fuck that guy.
Let's not talk
this has
about
come
it.
up too often again.
I think he gets too much publicity. No.
It's like backlash,
Yeah.
but.
Lights out, blinded sight, lost in the black tonight. We're closing in upon the edge of questioning that which you fabricated, all alone the affirmation, the invocation of your life and obsession with power. She's on earth seeping through the cracks, giving way to cataclysmic atmosphere as you tremble through the night. When you fear for your life, do you fear inconsequential? Do you fear?
Are you guys involved in any other projects besides WINGTIPS? Because I think you might be.
Yeah, we have another project called Visceral Anatomy. It's just still the two of us, but switched. I sing and do vocals, and Vinny does electronics. And it's just techno, EBM, more like dance music.
You guys on like Clinic tribute compilation?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
A tribute to Clinic compilation, maybe.
No.
We haven't put out anything.
No, yeah, we haven't.
Besides a few remixes.
There's a band that has a similar name that was on that, so I was like, so maybe that was it. But
Yeah.
I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, and so there's that, and that's definitely way different, but still really similar in a lot of ways. And then I used to play guitar in a project called Silent Age, which is like,
Yeah.
it's
We saw you all at She Passed Away.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I also saw WINGTIPS at Drab Majesty as well. So.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's a band that all of the members of that band are in other bands, so we just sort of come in and out of it, like when it makes sense, we just do it. It's more of a for fun type thing.
But we got some Population, maybe.
Yeah,
guys. Like I was like looking, I was like, I think the guy used to be in Population, but I'm not even sure if Population's still around or not.
Yeah, no, Population's not around anymore, and those guys have a more consistent band called Iron Years in Chicago. They're playing shows a lot, and I don't think I've done anything else.
That's a lot already. Actually.
You're doing
That's a lot.
You are.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, right now it's mainly just WINGTIPS, and we're going to record for WINGTIPS and Visceral Anatomy. After this tour is over, that's next step.
What's kind of your recording process? I mean, are you using a lot of hardware? Are you doing kind of more in, the computer?
Our workflow is all over the place. Like, it's very little consistency, but we are primarily software. We use a lot of soft synths, and at least for the initial demoing, for percussion and stuff in that realm, electronics. But we'll write everything at home or in our studio, wherever it may be at the time. And then we'll take it into a studio and finish it up and add, like, whatever. We'll just spend a lot of time in the studio and literally do whatever.
Yeah,
like,
nice.
Record whatever we feel like, needs.
It's cool.
I like it.
Cool. Yeah.
Production is fun.
It is
It's
fun.
fun. Yes.
And I like soft synths. I've got the Arturia boutique, synth set, and they've come a long way. You can get, you can still get a good sounding replica of, FM synthesis.
Yeah, Jupiter 8 or whatever.
Yeah, and it's definitely come a long way, and it's budget friendly.
For sure. For those who don't want to drop $10,000 fucking dollars on a vintage synthesizer, yeah, it's fine.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it may be for my own financial reasons, but I've never been able to justify spending that much money on anything.
Yeah.
Anything that's not like a car or something.
There have been some hardware synths that are more reasonable. That new Behringer is interesting to me. I mean,
which one?
I can't even remember the damn
There's
name.
a couple of them that have come out in the last
Behringer
month.
had a crap name always, and now they're making some cool gear.
Yeah, synth-wise for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they've dropped an an SH101 clone, a MS-20 clone. They're about to drop a Pro 1 clone. They're kind of in the clone business now, but it's all analog, which is kind of cool, and they're really inexpensive. I mean, and a Moog Model D, Moog Model D clone. I mean, it's like $300, and the Model D is like $3,000. So kind of cool in that regard, I guess, in the sense you can kind of get some of this analog gear, which is really kind of unattainable for a long time. And
and like the cloning gives you a new product. I mean, I've got a little bit of some old stuff from the '80s, late '80s. And the buttons start to get a little crappy, or a key starts to lose.
I know the feeling. Yeah, I've got it.
And so a clone gives you a new piece of gear.
It's nice. It's nice.
Yeah,
where all the buttons aren't worn down.
Hesitation manifested on my lips. The shadow of a wall came crashing down. The shadow of your life came crashing life that you surmise comes crashing The love you theorize comes crashing down. When here and now comes too late to start again. You'll find me in another story, tipped in the pouring rain. Bad time for second guessing, bad time for thinking straight. Misplaced in a sea of faces, replaced when I spoke your name. Set forth like suddenly dancing, no thoughts of the tire race. All the time in the world won't save us from all the pain.
So where's next?
So today's our last day of the last day of our second tour leg of North America. So we're gonna take about a little less than a week off, and then we're gonna go to Detroit, Toronto, Montreal,
Nice.
and Newark, New Jersey, and Baltimore. And that's it.
Wow. Nice.
Do you guys have cats? Dogs?
We have one cat.
We have one
Okay.
amazing.
Do you miss your cat?
Yeah.
Every day.
See, that's the thing is like
Cat sitters sending us photos, and we'll just.
that's the hardest part about leaving town for me is my pets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been difficult, and it's difficult because your pets know it too. They
Yeah.
feel it. So she definitely knows when we're leaving, and she gets all weird, and it's just heartbreaking.
That's the hardest
Oh,
part.
poor thing. Yeah.
I don't have kids, so
Yeah.
you know the pet things pulling at the strings if I'm gone too long.
Yeah. Especially like when we're on the road and we're like, oh, I miss her. And then we're like, no, don't talk about her. Don't talk about her. It's too sad. It's just- yeah. But we're in the home stretch and
Yeah.
You get to come
Yeah.
home and see the.
Yeah.
See,
Are you? Yes, you're gonna go home now for a few days, I guess, until you go back out again, or
Right.
yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
that's nice. Get a little breather,
Definitely.
a little break for the moment.
yeah, Detroit's not too far
No.
from Chicago, so
Right.
it's in the home region, as I guess Louisville is too, sort of.
It's like what, 4.5 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Or you go
at all.
across through Kalamazoo, and
I'm not sure yet. I haven't looked at Google Maps.
I feel like I've driven from Detroit to Chicago like one or two times years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, you hit
anyways.
like Michigan City
Yeah.
and like Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally.
All the beautiful sights.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Michigan City's got some nice dunes on the lake, though. It's
Oh
kinda-
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of mellow.
totally. Yeah.
On to the music.
On to the music then.
But I guess we're kind of wrapped up.
Is there anything
I guess we are.
important?
Yeah, anything you feel like you urgently need to tell us?
No, not really.
The world, tell the world, like.
I think just like
Want to know?
I would say that I'm like super excited to play in this space. It's
Aw.
gorgeous and ginormous, and
Thank
the
you.
sound's
Yeah,
great.
thanks.
The new monitors.
Thanks for
sound so
gracing
great.
us with your presence.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Definitely.
And thanks for opening the door earlier when I was knocking, just over and over and over again. Like,
Yeah, I was definitely like skeptical of
yeah, I could tell. You're like, and I'm like, yeah, come on, come on.
It's probably fine.
It was totally fine. Well, thanks so much for coming to speak with us in the podcast. We
thank you for
really
having
appreciate it.
Definitely.
And we're super excited to see you play tonight. And yeah,
Thank you.
yes.
We can speak like we're in time. We can do we're in our prime. Just don't try to act too kind. The subtleties fall far behind. Another day is on the rise. Another mess of gleaming eyes. It's not what you do. It's when you find me. If you can just understand the visions that don't leave your head, watching as the worlds collide, piecing up a place to hide, noiseless, furious and bleak, screaming to you from the peak. It's not what you do. It's when you find me. It's not what you do. It's when you
Radio Arcane.